Kidneys are encapsulated organs with two primary densities, a homogeneous, relatively hyperechoic cortex and a hypoechoic medulla. In a normal kidney, anechoic tubes of the parenchyma usually represent renal arteries and veins. Ureters are usually too small to see in normal kidneys. When finished examining the spleen, the transducer is in an off-sagittal position on the left lateral abdomen and caudal to the last rib. In dogs and cats, the left kidney is usually in a very dorsal location, caudal to the last rib. Remember, the kidneys are retroperitoneal. That is, they are outside of and dorsal to the abdominal cavity, near the last rib. Rotate the transducer to a left lateral sagittal position and slide caudally from the last rib to find the left kidney. In a lateral sagittal transducer position, the kidney has a kidney bean shape and can be bisected into two equal halves. To bisect the kidney, the transducer should be perpendicular to the patient's body and parallel to the tabletop or floor. My abdominal graphic does not simulate this position well, so I will compensate to obtain the proper transducer position. Slide the transducer slightly dorsally or ventrally to center the kidney under the transducer. Fan the transducer ventrally until the ultrasound beam is no longer within the kidney. Then reverse directions and fan dorsally until the ultrasound beam is no longer within the kidney. Return to the initial position bisecting the kidney. Rotate the transducer 90 degrees counterclockwise to a transverse position. Fan cranially, then caudally, until all kidney tissue has been seen. Rotate the transducer 90 degrees clockwise back to a left lateral sagittal position over the left kidney. When looking for the left kidney, a common mistake of the sonographer is to rotate the transducer slightly counterclockwise from a sagittal position. This mistake shortens the length of the kidney and will result in an inaccurate kidney length measurement. It also moves the ultrasound beam away from the left adrenal and makes it much more difficult to find the left adrenal from a lateral sagittal transducer position. It is important to keep the ultrasound beam parallel to the tabletop. A 12-pound cat is used to demonstrate finding the left kidney. When finished with the spleen, the transducer is in an off-sagittal position on the left lateral abdomen and caudal to the last rib. In dogs and cats, the left kidney is usually found caudal to the last rib. Rotate the transducer to a left lateral sagittal position and slide caudally to locate the left kidney. If you see mainly intestines on the ultrasound screen, the transducer location is too ventral on the patient's body. Remember, the kidneys are retroperitoneal. That is, they are outside of and dorsal to the peritoneal cavity, near the last rib. Slide the transducer dorsally toward the patient's vertebrae. keeping the ultrasound beam parallel to the tabletop. Remember to keep the organ of interest centered on the ultrasound screen to reduce artifact. This is best accomplished by holding the transducer perpendicular to the patient's body and the organ of interest. Use the keyboard functions of the ultrasound machine to adjust image quality. DFFG, that is, depth, frequency, focal points, and gain. Adjust depth to fill most of the ultrasound screen with the organ of interest. If needed, adjust transducer frequency for the current depth. Adjust focal points to the bottom of the organ of interest. And adjust gain for the best image. Remember, too much pressure on the transducer can push the kidney out of the field of view. Use enough transducer pressure to place the transducer close to the kidney without displacing the kidney. Remember to keep one finger of the keyboard hand on the freeze button, ready to capture the best image. When you press the freeze button, practice leaving your transducer hand relaxed and in position so that when you unfreeze, you will still have the same image. This will save you time and effort. In a lateral sagittal transducer position, the kidney has a kidney bean shape and can be bisected into two equal halves. Once the kidney has been located, slide the transducer dorsally and ventrally to find the center of the kidney. When the center of the kidney has been found, the image will show medulla at the cranial pole, medulla at the center, and medulla at the caudal pole of the kidney. If the transducer is rotated counterclockwise from a sagittal position, the medulla at the cranial pole is cut off. If the transducer is rotated clockwise from a sagittal position, the medulla at the caudal pole is cut off. So the desired image of the left kidney from a left lateral sagittal position will show medulla at the cranial pole, medulla at the center, and medulla at the caudal pole. The ultrasound image will tell you if the transducer is in the proper position. Fan the transducer ventrally until the kidney is no longer seen. Then reverse direction and fan dorsally till the kidney is no longer seen. Return to the initial position bisecting the kidney. Rotate the transducer 90 degrees counterclockwise to a transverse position. Fan cranially, then caudally until all kidney tissue has been seen. Rotate the transducer 90 degrees clockwise back to a left lateral sagittal position over the left kidney. In some cases, it may be easier to view the kidneys from a left ventral sagittal transducer position. The kidneys cannot be bisected from this position, and the appearance is different. It may be more difficult to recognize a dilated renal pelvis.